Rousseau, who's kind of famous for believing that nature is good, the natural part of humans is good, and the society is what kind of corrupts people. And this is from his book, Emile, translated by Alan Bloom, page 291. And this talks about how even almost everybody, or maybe everybody, still has an inherent goodness in them, no matter sort of how depraved they've lived. And so he says, "Oh, when one has lost the taste for the pleasures of the soul, how difficult it is to regain them. How much more miserable enough, excuse me, how much more difficult gaining it is when one has never had it. If there existed a man miserable enough to be unable to recall anything he had done in all his life which made him satisfied with himself and glad to have lived, that man would be incapable of ever knowing himself, and for want of feeling the goodness suitable to his nature, he would necessarily remain wicked and be eternally unhappy. But do you believe there is a single man on the whole earth depraved enough never to have yielded in his heart to the temptation of doing good?" That struck me, temptation of doing good. This temptation is so natural and so sweet that it is impossible always to resist it, and the memory of the pleasure that it once produced suffices to recall it constantly. So, you know, that might go against what a lot of people kind of would naturally believe and naturally associate some of these words with, like the temptation to do good, or, uh, and it's also an interesting idea that, yeah, that once one, one cannot know oneself if one does not have this memory of doing good, which also makes you satisfied with yourself. All of that stuff seems a little bit different from maybe how most of us think. Maybe a lot of that thinking may come from uh, the Bible, we are fallen creatures, we are inherently sinful.